Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Nadia Mitsopoulos from ABC Radio Perth, and it is an absolute pleasure to be with you again as your MC. And how wonderful to be here at the spectacular Government House Ballroom for what is a very special night. Welcome to our special guests, His Excellency, the Honourable Chris Dawson, AC/APM Governor of Western Australia, and Mrs Darrylyn Dawson, representing the Premier of WA, the Honourable Amber Jade Sanderson, MLA, Minister for Health and Mental Health. The Honourable Patrick Gorman MP, Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister and Assistant Minister for the Public Service. Bradley Woods, Chairman, Auspire Australia Day Council, WA. The Honourable Dr Ken Michael, AC, former Governor of WA. Shane Love, MLA, Leader of the Opposition. Libby Mettam, MLA, Leader of the WA Liberal Party. Senator the Honourable Sue Lines, President of the Senate. Senator Glenn Sterle. Tracy Roberts, MP, Member for Pearce. Kate Chaney, MP, Member for Curtin. John Foreman, AM, Chairman, National Australia Day Council. Robert Isaacs, AM, Board Member, National Australia Day Council. Danita Warne, Board Member, National Australia Day Council. Welcome also to Mark Fraser, AOCVO, the CEO of the National Australia Day Council. Morgan Lewis, CEO, Auspire Australia Day Council of WA. Emily Roper, the Director General of the Department of Premier and Cabinet. Mike Rowe, Director General, Department of Communities. And Jay Peckett, the new Director General of the Department of Education. Welcome to our Auspire board members, mayors and presidents from WA local government authorities, West Australian 2025 Australian of the Year finalists, Australian of the Year alumni, sponsor representatives. It's a long list, and welcome to all of you. But the real stars of the show tonight are our nominees and your families, and I very much look forward to sharing your stories. Hello also to those of you watching online at australiaoftheyear.org.au. Well, tonight we are celebrating some remarkable achievements from people who have compassion, who have courage, resilience, foresight and hope. They are selfless West Australians who are not looking for accolades. They do not look for fame. What they do because they care. They care about you. And that is the true spirit of the Australian of the Year Awards. It shines a light on people who want to make our country better, who want to make your life a better one. And I promise you, their stories will warm your heart and they will nourish your soul. So let's celebrate these people far and wide, and you can help do that tonight by using your social media platforms and use the hashtag #OzOfTheYear. Before we get underway, I'd like to invite respected Whadjuk Noongar leader and Auspire board member Barry Winmar to welcome us to country.
I begin by acknowledging my elders past and present, and today we gather on my ancestral land. This is the land of the Whadjuk Noongar people. I represent a civilisation with the longest continuous connection to this land and this place for some 65,000 years. I represent elders and leaders that have welcomed visitors to these shores and from afar for more than 3,000 generations. A welcome to country is a sign of mutual respect. I acknowledge and pay my respects to our Aspire Australia Council and the Governor of Te our host tonight, including a welcome to country as part of today's awards ceremony and proceedings. Ngala nyen ko ngala no neje nonga buja. Nonga morjer ban nejingana kwabarak nonga buja kurlong. From the beginning of time to the end, this is Noongar country. Noongar people have been graceful keepers of our nation for many, many years. Ngala jerp and maba ngala ko jerp and ngala nyining nonga buja. We respect the earth, our mother, and understand. We belong to her. She does not belong to us. In all her beauty we find comfort, and she is now a place for all of us to become keepers of Noongar country. We ask that you look, listen, understand, and embrace all the elements of Noongar country. This is forever our home. It's an honour and a privilege to be here tonight to help you celebrate tonight's occasion as we come together on these sacred lands of my ancestors. We ask that you walk softly and tread lightly as the spirits that I've called with the word on the didgeridoo this evening have awoken to welcome the visitors here tonight. And as we stand and walk on this land, we are united as one. We're all Australians. And as Aboriginal Australians, we ask that we all stand strong, tall and proud of the rich history that has been brought to this land and is of this land, as we're all Australians, and tonight especially, we are proud West Australians. So with the responsibility bestowed upon me by Noongar elders, I welcome everybody here tonight, and I say, Kaya Wanju, Ngan Korja Padeji Noongar Buja Darjali, Wangni Noongar Buja, Wanju Wanju. Hello and welcome. My heart is happy as we're all gathered here on Noongar Buja tonight. Perth, Boorloo, welcome.
Oh, our heart is happy too, Barry. Thank you. What a beautiful welcome to country. Well, it's time now for the national anthem, so please stand and welcome Magda Lasek.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've gold and soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please be seated. And once again, thank Magda for such a beautiful and impressive performance. Well, let's now welcome the Governor of Western Australia, His Excellency the Honourable Chris Dawson, AC APM.
Well, thank you, Nadi, for that wonderful opportunity and welcome all to Government House. My wife Darren and I are very privileged to be able to call this home for the moment, but this is a home for all Western Australians. Nadia has done such an exceptional job in advising of all the distinguished people. I'm not going to repeat it all. And that's not out of disrespect. It's simply that we've got a lot of people to acknowledge here tonight. And as far as I'm concerned, you're all distinguished. And particularly, we're going to hear about 16 outstanding West Australians. And with that, as joint patrons of Aspire, Darren and I have a great opportunity just to add to all this work that Aspire, the committee, the boards and others have done. And particularly I'd highlight the nominees, those people that have actually taken the time to nominate people because we're about to learn a lot more about some great West Australians. So it's a big WA-sized thank you. We live in such a great state. I don't think anyone in this room is going to argue about that. But what does make Western Australia so great? We've got wonderful colour, we've got wonderful ancient history, we've got wonderful contrast across our great state, but we've also got, and I think the greatest asset is our people. Our nominees for tonight's Australian of the Year Awards, Western Australia, do exemplify what WA is all about. And whether it's community mindedness, commitment, enterprising spirit, across a whole range of different endeavours and sectors, everyone that's going to be spoken about tonight really is deserving of winning, but clearly we will be announcing shortly the 4 people who will be represented in each of the 4 categories. The Australian of the Year Awards recognise Australians who have made outstanding achievements in their field, who are inspirational role models and have contributed in such a significant way to our nation, our state, our community. Reflecting on past winners, it's fair to say that our nominees tonight are in great company. Professor Fiona Stanley, AC, former Australian of the Year 2003, and obviously still punching through many barriers. Dr. Fiona Wood, AO, Australian of the Year 2005. In 2023, the West Australian of the Year, Professor Summer Ayun. They are people who we are justifiably proud of. And we've got in the front row here, Michelle Turvey, last year's 2024 West Australian of the Year. Just for the past year, Michelle continues to work as an Assistant Director within the Western Australian Police Force, and she's been delivering with her team training sessions for police officers and staff how to deal sensitively with victims of crime and members of our community, fostering greater cultural understanding and launching a renewed Aboriginal liaison program. So whatever your field, whatever your passion, whatever your drive, you will hear tonight and see people who have just done wonderful things. The State Selection Panel, can I thank the judges for the work they've had. It's a terrible task trying to separate people, but in the sense that we should all be very proud of the recipients that tonight will be announced. The 4 recipients in each of the 4 categories will in January be travelling to Canberra for the ultimate finalisation of the Australian of the Year Awards. But for WA, we're hearing their stories tonight. I wish each of them well in the next stage of this progress. They will continue, I've got no doubt, to inspire us and work towards a better and brighter nation. And I'll hand back to our wonderful MC, Nadia, to take us through the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor. Well, every year the selection panel is inundated with nominations. They get thousands of them across the country, and this year was no different. So you can appreciate how difficult it is to come up with a short list this year in WA of 17 nominees, but our selection panel have managed to do it. Some of our nominees are volunteers, others are professionals, they're visionaries, advocates, change makers, and we are very lucky to have them here in our great state. Recipients will be announced in each of the 4 categories: Australia's Local Hero, Young Australian of the Year, Senior Australian of the Year, and of course the Australian of the Year. They will then join other state and territory recipients at the National Awards on the eve of Australia Day, where the national recipients will be announced by the Prime Minister, and of course that will be broadcast live on the ABC. Let's take a moment again to congratulate our finalists. And let's now hear from the Chair of Auspire, Bradley Woods. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Nadia, and thank you to my fellow board member Barry Winmar for your welcome to country. And I too acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar peoples, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respect to elders past and present. Well, as the Chair of Auspire, the Australia Day Council WA, and the Chair of the selection panel, it's an honour to welcome each and every one of you here this evening. In particular, can I thank our joint patrons, His Excellency Chris Dawson, ACAPM, Governor of Western Australia, and Mrs Darrell Dawson for your patronage, in particular for hosting these awards at Government House. It's always a pleasure to be back here for these important awards, and we thank you for your support. Our Vice Patron, Premier Roger Cook, is represented here tonight by the Honourable Amber Jade Sanderson, Minister for Health and Mental Health, and I thank her also for being here this evening and joining us. Can I also recognise National Australia Day Council Chairman John Foreman, OAM, CEO Mark Fraser, AO, CVO, and National Board members Robert Isaacs, AM, OAM, and Danita Warren. Well, Auspire, the Australia Day Council of Western Australia, is proud to present these awards in Western Australia. We lead Australia Day activities. We're a not-for-profit organisation. The organisation is not a government agency or appointed by government, but we are an independent not-for-profit that continues to raise awareness of the importance of these awards and Australia Day and celebration of our nation. Can I thank the Western Australian Government for its support of our organisation, which enables Auspire to showcase extraordinary West Australians, our recipients both tonight and throughout the year, and the work that goes into promoting their activities and celebrating their achievements. Can I also recognise Assistant Minister Gorman? Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Patrick. Your presence at our events throughout the year always helps shine a light on our remarkable award winners and our alumni. Thank you. Tonight we're also joined by our 2024 WA recipients, Michelle Turvey, Charlie Bass, Nick Hudson, and Kate Kerwin sends her apologies as she is overseas. Thank you for your contribution and standing up over the last year, and for your work and the contribution you've made in shaping our nation. I also have the duty of thanking our sponsors who are vital to our success, and we're pleased to welcome many of them here tonight. Can I just highlight and thank Franklin, Heather, and Olivia Tate of Tate Wines for generously donating the exceptional wines and sparkling we're enjoying this evening. Now, Frank's my neighbour. He lives over the road from me. I don't often get to see him that often, but hopefully I'll get to have a glass of wine with him tonight. Well, the Australian of the Year Awards honour remarkable individuals from every corner of life, celebrating their contribution and the embodiment of Australian values. These awards are uniquely Australian. They don't exist in other countries or nations around the world. And so how incredible is it for us to celebrate the diverse achievements and these unique award winners? When I've travelled overseas and I've talked to people in the US or Europe about these awards, they can't quite grasp the concept about recognising individuals in the way we do. Yes, there are royal honours and legionary honours, but in terms of the way in which we recognise these awards, they are quite unique, and I think really do reflect the egalitarian and the way in which Australian society recognises unique contributions from everyone. And those winners over the years are remarkable themselves, from a body image activist to a Paralympian, from a professor of quantum physics to a family violence campaigner, life-saving scientists who've been pioneering melanoma cures, a record-breaking Olympic swimmer, and even a man whose fossil discovery helped establish the nation's first dinosaur museum. These recipients showcase the extraordinary breadth of talent and contribution that defines our nation. Australia's national identity is not defined by race, it's not defined by religion, but by shared values: political, economic, and religious freedom, liberal democracy, the rule of law, and equality for all, and mutual respect. Australia's modern identity is shaped by a complex history. The resilience woven into our national fabric is grounded in the connection of our First Nations people that they have with the land, strengthened by the shared histories of convict and free settlers past, and richly enhanced by migrants from all corners of the globe whose cultures, stories and contributions have woven the very vibrant tapestry of modern Australia. Our people come from nearly every culture, race and faith, and as one of the world's most successful multicultural societies, we are harmonious, we are egalitarian, and an enterprising nation that celebrates diversity. And through the dedication, innovation and tenacity of spirit through generations, we've built the Australia we know today, a successful and resilient nation. Australia Day and these awards invite us to reflect on our shared journey and honour the identity that we've forged as a diverse and a united nation. However, choosing which remarkable individuals to recognise from the thousands of nominations is no easy task, and along the way we've been inspired by incredible contributions at all levels. We're proud to share their stories tonight. To our award-winning alumni, our ambassadors and volunteers, thank you for your support and ongoing involvement. Can I thank my fellow selection panel of community representatives, AusSpire board members, National Australia Day Council executives, directors and sponsors who've invested their time and effort as part of the 2025 WA Australian of the Year selection panel. Thank you to the AusSpire team led by CEO Morgan Lewis for their work in delivering these awards and our year-round ongoing initiatives. And lastly, can I give gratitude to the AusSpire Australia Day Council WA board members for their time, energy and insight. And if I can take the liberty of just recognising them, Deputy Chair Peter King ASM, the Honourable Ken Michael AC, 29th Governor of Western Australia, David Hinton, Rabia Sadiq QCVS, Nick Sloan, Barry Winmar, Jeremy Chetty, Meg Coffey, Clive Bingwa and Morgan Lewis. Let's honour and celebrate our outstanding West Australian finalists this evening and our soon announced to be WA recipients. Congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bradley. And Your Excellency, the Governor, Chris Dawson, would you like to come and join me back on stage? We're going to get this show on the road. Our first 2025 Australian of the Year award for Western Australia is the Local Hero, which recognises Australians making a significant contribution in their local community. So let's learn some more about this category, which is supported by the Department of Home Affairs.
Our local heroes are everyday Australians doing amazing things in their local communities. They represent what's great about communities. They keep their communities strong and they are the fabric of our society.
They'll tell you when we open our doors to our neighbours, we open our hearts and we give ourselves the chance to rejoice with others, to learn from them.
Rural people are worth fighting for because they get up and they show up in fire and flood and droughts and plagues and pandemics, and they put food on the nation's table. So the least we can do as a nation is make sure that they're getting support when they look for it.
Hey, it's Tony Burke, the Minister for Home Affairs. I just want to tell you why it's so important that we sponsor the Local Heroes Award. This award, people don't compete for it. People just do what they do. And I love when we recognise people who never sought recognition. There are people who are local heroes because they just very humbly go out and do jobs every day that show leadership through their work. There are people who are local heroes because they stand up for people who, when no one else is standing up for them. There are people who are local heroes because in a moment of crisis, they just step up without thinking about themselves and just helping others. But most importantly, everybody being awarded today did it because of their love of their community, love of their country, love of the people you are helping. And that is worthy of recognition.
The award not only acknowledges work done so far, but gives encouragement to continue, and that's important.
It's not easy to just sit around and talk about the problems. I urge everyone, be kind and respectful. You too can be part of the change of the solution.
Building a world-class natural history museum is a multi-million-dollar investment. But my question to everyone here is, what is our continent worth? What is the education of our children worth? Australia's future is inextricably linked to its past, and our children are its future custodians. The more they understand it, the better they will care for it. To me, nothing is more important.
So let's now learn about our nominees for the West Australian 2025 Local Hero.
Chef Christiana Anka believes that purposeful and principled business practices can have myriad benefits. Her social enterprise, Chris's Kitchen, provides employment pathways to people experiencing disadvantage and barriers to employment, including refugees, migrants, survivors of domestic violence, and people living with disability. Christiana is passionate about ending hunger, empowering her community, and supporting those around her to thrive. Jennifer Ball believes that no one should be forced into poverty by fleeing violence. She's the founder and CEO of Worthy Australia, a not-for-profit organisation providing support to women and children who are displaced or homeless due to domestic violence. The not-for-profit turns empty accommodation into fully furnished, personalised homes for these vulnerable families, helping to restore their dignity, self-worth and hope. Robert Gearson believes that every child, regardless of their challenges, should have the opportunity to play and connect to their community through sport. He founded StarKick, an inclusive all-abilities AFL program for children, which today runs at 29 clubs statewide. Aiming to cater for all disabilities and shift attitudes, it's fostering teamwork and belonging, improving health and well-being, and encouraging fun. Dr. Jacinta Vu is an oral medicine specialist with a drive to give back. Along with her colleagues, Jacinta leads the all-female volunteer-run initiative Healing Smiles, which offers sensitive, trauma-informed care through cost-free dental assessment and treatment for women escaping domestic violence in Western Australia. Healing Smiles helps to restore dignity and self-esteem for these women while on the path to overall healing.
We are very lucky to have these kind of people in our community. Well, Governor, I'll invite you now to present each nominee with their certificate. Christiana Anka. Jennifer Ball. Robert Gearson. And Dr. Jacinta Vu. And we also have our WA 2024 Local Hero recipient, Nick Hudson, here with us tonight. We'd love you, Nick, to come and join us on stage. And Governor, I'll get you to make the announcement.
So the winner of Australia's Local Hero category for Western Australia for 2025 is Dr. Jacinta Vu.
Jacinta, congratulations. Now, you don't go looking for praise, you don't go looking for accolades, but how special is it to be recognised in this way?
I'm almost speechless, but I moved to Australia when I was 8 and all I wanted to do was be Australian, and we're just watching the intro, I'm so proud to be here and to represent, Australians coming from different backgrounds.
You were instrumental in setting up Healing Smiles. And we're lucky you came to our country. You were instrumental in setting up Healing Smiles. Can you just tell us what motivated you to do that?
It was an opportunity to be able to give back to our sisters who are in dire straits. We have, as dentists and dental specialists, time and skills to give back to our community to help women in need and to give them confidence, to give them dignity and to help them on their healing journey.
Can you tell us about the women who you see when they come to you, how they are?
They're often very fearful, very traumatised, afraid to look at you, afraid of being judged, and being able to sit with them, to be compassionate, kind, to empathise with them on their journey of healing is really amazing. It goes beyond the technical expertise that you need as a dentist to be able to restore a smile. You're restoring them themselves. And we all know the power of a smile. It's very, very important, and it kind of reflects what you have going on inside. And by seeing them smile again, it shows how empowering it is. And they are then, many of them write back to us and say how much that sorting out their smile, their teeth, has given them so much confidence in the rest of their lives as well.
And I guess for us listening, we don't appreciate or maybe underestimate the power of a smile and just how much that says about somebody.
That's right, yes. I definitely agree. And, sometimes they won't be able to look at you because they're too embarrassed, or they'll put their hand in front of their mouth, and then to see them just beaming back at you and be so thankful and so happy, and that sense of upliftment, and it reaches through.
Do you know how many women you've assisted through Healing Smiles?
501.
Well, Dr. Jacinta Vu, you are doing life-changing things for so many women. Thank you so much, and again, congratulations. Our West Australian 2025 local hero. Well, now to the Young Australian of the Year category, supported by the Australian Government Office for Youth. Now, this award was introduced in 1979 and recognises inspiring young Australians aged between 16 and 30 who've accomplished great things. So let's hear more about our young category from some of our past recipients.
When you look at the Young Australians of the Year, we're all reminded that our future is in really good hands.
I've been given an opportunity in such a beautiful country to be myself, and for me the most important thing is to help the next generation and also inspire them to be themselves and follow their dreams.
We have the power to shape the future and make Australia a place where we're all proud, where we all belong, and where we stand united.
I'm beyond proud to congratulate you as our exceptional state and territory finalists for the 2025 Young Australians of the Year. Now, as Minister for Youth, I'm honoured to support and sponsor the Young Australian of the Year program, shining a light on the wonderful achievements of young people right across the country. Each of you are leading examples to your peers, your communities, and the entire country, creating a better and brighter future. You are each being recognised for your incredible achievements, demonstrating the extraordinary things young Australians can accomplish. Now, I can't wait to see the incredible contributions you will make next, and I wish you nothing but success.
The Young Australians of the Year have a really impressive energy and a drive to make Australia a better place.
I simply couldn't live with myself, knowing that there were Australians suffering from medical conditions that could be treated.
It is still crazy to me that I've done what I have in sport, and I want young kids to know that I was once in the same position that they are now, hoping and dreaming of one day of doing something big. I want to have an impact on people's lives by encouraging them to push hard and go after their dreams and what they are passionate about.
Well, there is our next crop of leaders, and I do think our future is in good hands. So let's find out more about our nominees for the West Australian 2025 Young Australian of the Year Award.
At just 24, Jack Anderson is one of the most influential innovators in education in Australia. He's the co-founder of Elucidate Education, a volunteer-run organisation producing and donating textbooks for students around Australia. Elucidate Education provides educational materials to disadvantaged rural and Indigenous students, including its free online platform, which benefits countless students in Australia and globally, empowering them for success. Shelley Cable believes in making money work for, not against, First Nations peoples. She's actively advancing First Nations economic empowerment and self-determination by ensuring their inclusion in the financial system. Shelley advocates for pathways for First Nations people to thrive through business and financial literacy, advising Australia's largest employers and First Nations-owned businesses. Today, she's ANZ Bank's Head of First Nations Strategy for Australia. Isabella Choate uses their lived experience to create vital intersectional communities through which they're a voice for young people. Isabella's advocacy takes many diverse forms within the disability, mental health and LGBTQI+ spaces, including consultancy, public speaking, podcasting and political activism. By being named WA Young Person of the Year 2023, Isabella founded Perth's inaugural Disability Pride Festival. Nina Kennedy is a world champion and Olympic gold medalist in pole vault. Despite a range of setbacks, including several serious injuries, Nina has demonstrated enormous resilience and grit, ultimately becoming the best in her field. With her admirable determination and sportsmanship, Nina is a role model for young people and generously shares her time and expertise with aspiring young athletes.
Well, let's get our nominees on stage. Jack Anderson. Now, Jack is unable to join us this evening. He is watching though. There he is. Give him a wave. And his auntie, Deanne Pedersen, will accept his certificate on Jack's behalf. Shelley Cable. Isabella Choate. and Nina Kennedy. Now, unfortunately, Nina is travelling and unable to join us this evening. She is represented by her very proud mother, Gwenda Kennedy. And we would love our 2024 Young Australian of the Year, Kate Kerwin, to be with us, but unfortunately she's in the unfortunately for us, but fortunately for her, she's in the United States at the moment on a pretty exciting exchange program expanding the role of women in STEM. Governor, could you please do the honours?
The 2025 Young Australian of the Year for Western Australia is Jack Anderson.
What? That's... Oh my.
Jack Anderson, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was not expecting that, to be truthful. That is just phenomenal news. It's nice and early here, so that's a great way to start the morning.
Young Australian of the Year for WA, Jack, what do those words mean to you?
I mean, to think that out of, thousands of nominations, I was whittled down to these four incredible young people, and then to stand alongside, an Olympic gold medalist, lived experience advocate, and someone who's working for First Nations individuals, to be named out of those exceptional candidates is literally blowing my mind at the moment. And, the level of imposter syndrome that I'm feeling at the moment is crazy, but I'm just so unfathomably honoured to have received this award.
Your charity work started as an 18-year-old. Can you just tell us a bit about how these disadvantaged kids came on your radar?
Yeah, so when I was in my first year of university, I started volunteering in low socioeconomic schools across Perth through another university organisation called Ignite Mentoring. And that was where I compared my private school education to an education that is from a low socioeconomic status. And I quickly saw how, unfortunately, Australia's education system places a ceiling above so many exceptional young people just based on the postcode they were born into. And so from that moment, when I was 18 years old, I knew that I wanted to do something about it. And so I started with textbooks and writing my first chemistry textbook at 18 with four of my friends. And I guess I've met a lot of exceptional people along the way who have helped me to build out this incredible organization that's continuing to grow every single year.
What you do when you're 18, right? But giving these kids access to education, can you just explain how much of a life-changing gift that is for some of these kids?
Yeah, when it comes to gaining self-efficacy in your life and breaking cycles of inequity in your home communities, a lot of that comes back to fundamentally having a strong, sound education. And so what we're working to do at Elucidate Education is really student-friendly resources that help them to engage in complex subjects like physics or chemistry, really break it down in a way that is super understandable. And in doing so, it empowers them during their high school years and gives them that confidence to maybe consider university as an option or consider a TAFE program and really go beyond their communities in order to get the highest level of employment that they can and then go back and drive positive change one day. So yeah, that's really the whole goal.
So Jack, do you know how many kids you've helped and how do you measure your success rate?
Yeah, so our success rate is measured on a few key metrics. So the first is our engagement with our online platform. We have tens of thousands of young Australians hopping on every single year to access our free education content. And then for the textbooks that we write, our biggest metric is through the qualitative feedback that we receive from the schools. We go out to these rural communities and we donate all these textbooks, and we've partnered with we get some laptops there as well, and we run some tertiary education workshops. And through those types of rural donation trips, we donate all of these resources, and we get such kind-hearted emails back from the schools. And then, of course, like schools in the suburbia areas, some of the schools have been using our textbooks for 5 years now. And so it's always a great sign to see that every single year they're choosing to use textbooks written by university students rather than those billion-dollar companies like Pearson. So yeah, it's a cool feeling.
Amazing person you are. Jack Anderson, our WA 2025 Young Australian of the Year. Jack, congratulations.
Thank you.
So much, and lovely to be able to share this moment with Jack. Well, the Department of Health and Aged Care is the category partner for our next award, the Senior Australian of the Year. This award celebrates those Australians who are aged over 65 who continue to do great things in the community. Let's hear more about our Senior Australian of the Year category.
The Senior Australian of the Year award is an award that really carries a lot of respect because it's a reflection of many decades of work by the recipient.
Here in Australia, we are fortunate to be the home of the oldest continuing surviving cultures in the world. This is something we should be proud of and we should celebrate.
I pray that all people in our wonderful country, Australia, regardless of language, culture, skin colour or religious belief, may stand tall as proud Australians.
The Senior Australian of the Year award recognises and celebrates the incredible achievements of older Australians around the country. As the Minister for Aged Care, I want to congratulate all of you on being nominated. Ageing well means staying healthy and connecting with community. Improving the lives of others shows your continued passion and commitment to living well. I wish you all the best in the finals, but importantly, I want to acknowledge that every one of you should be proud of your continued achievements. You are an inspiration to all of us, and your legacies will benefit the nation for generations to come.
The Senior Australians of the Year are inspirational not only to other senior Australians, but to all Australians, and particularly to the younger generations coming through.
Bystander first aid is proven to prevent death in those vital minutes before an ambulance arrives.
We need equal rights, including fundings, services, and resources, so we can work side by side and support each other. And together we can share new ideas to heal our nation. Ko ngal madaya ka rambang jama. Let us stand up and work together. Thank you.
So as you can see, this award celebrates a lifetime of service and success. So let's hear the stories of our nominees for the West Australian 2025 Senior Australian of the Year Award.
Professor Patricia Dudgeon AM was Australia's first Aboriginal psychologist. With her vision and stamina, Patricia advocates for more culturally sensitive mental health care for Indigenous people. She founded the discipline of Indigenous psychology in Australia and pioneered research methodologies that encourage community self-determination and engagement. As a mentor and role model, Patricia also encourages and promotes educational pathways for Indigenous students. Melissa Henry OAM founded Claremont Therapeutic Riding Centre in 1972, the first riding centre for people with disabilities in Western Australia. She's helped thousands of people find new freedom on horseback. Melissa's care goes beyond the experience of horse riding, and that's widely recognised. She creates belonging and allows people with disabilities to be active participants, not just observers. Her husband's 2015 diagnosis of dementia spurred Angie McCluskey to improve the lives of people living with the disease. Confronting the negativity surrounding dementia, Angie launched the first Forget Me Not Memory Cafe in 2017 for people living with dementia and their carers. Forget Me Not cafes have now expanded from just a couple of patrons at one location to 30 sites across Western Australia. In his 40 years as a teacher and 26 years as the volunteer factory manager at Wheelchairs for Kids, Brother Thomas Oliver Pickett AM has transformed the lives of 60,000 disabled children in 84 developing countries across the world. The charity provides free adjustable wheelchairs and occupational therapy expertise for children in developing countries, changing lives one wheelchair at a time.
Let's meet our finalists. Professor Patricia Dudgeon AM. Melissa Henry OAM. Angie McCluskey. And Brother Thomas Oliver Pickett AM. What incredibly valuable members of our community. And when you talk about selfless people who care, well, here they are right here, devoting a lifetime to helping others. And it is lovely to have with us our WA 2024 Senior Australian of the Year, Charlie Bass, with us this evening. Charlie, join us on stage. Governor.
Great pleasure to announce the 2025 Senior Australian of the Year for Western Australia is, don't go too far away, Brother Thomas Oliver Pickett.
Congratulations, Brother Ollie Pickett. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, well, I just feel it's unbelievable. With all those wonderful people in my category, and I get picked out, I can't believe it. Anyway, congratulations to all those in the senior section, and I feel very honoured to be here.
Does this feel special? Is this a particularly special award for you?
Well, certainly special, that's for sure. I mean, I sort of lost for words, like one of the other participants that came up here who won. They felt lost for words, and I think I do too.
Ollie, you started Wheelchair for Kids back in 1996, and in fact we were talking earlier, and I did tell him that I remember interviewing him as a young TV journalist when you first started this amazing charity. Since then, 60,000 wheelchairs to children in more than 80 countries. Just tell us about the impact that a wheelchair has on a child.
Well, having seen it with first hand in a lot of these countries, Cambodia, Vietnam, through African countries, places like East Timor, up through the islands in the Pacific, It makes a huge difference to a little kid just to get a chair on wheels. It's as simple as that. And not only to the children, but also to their families, particularly the mother, who can't pick the little kids up anymore. You see them, they just sit in a corner or lie on the ground for years and years until someone says, OK, well, look, we've got some wheelchairs coming, and you've been designated to have a wheelchair, and they can get out to the local school in the village. They get out and play with the kids of their own age, and it's very, very heartening to see that happen.
How did you start doing this? Why did you start doing it?
Oh boy, it goes back a long time now. The fellow who founded it was he was from a Rotary Club, Surf Sunrise in Queensland. He went with his wife to Fiji on a holiday, and while he was on the holiday, he saw some little kids who got cerebral palsy on the ground, and some of them in a hut. He went off the tourist route a bit, and he said, I'm going to come back and do something about this. His name was Des Lawrence. He came back and he made 6 wheelchairs out of bike parts. He went down to the tip, actually, and found 6 bikes the same, which is almost impossible because I've tried it. Anyway, that's what he did. Anyway, make a long story short, he went back again with Cathay Pacific, took them back for nothing. He went back with his wife, and he saw the tremendous pleasure these little kids had for getting off the ground, and their little kids from the village were pushing them around. And he said, look, there must be some other Rotary Club in Australia who could help, because there must be more kids in the world who need a wheelchair. And the Rotary Club of Scarborough approached me. I was working with kids at that stage that dropped out of mainstream schooling. I had a welding shop up in Wangara, and they dropped out for all sorts of reasons. Anyway, I put it to them. They said, yeah, Ollie, let's have a go at this. So which we did. But you ever tried going to the tip and trying to find bikes the same? Anyway, I at this stage had 8 groups, and I thought I couldn't do it. I think we made 10. And I made them with these kids who are just off the streets. And I said to them, look, guys, I said, we haven't got time because we had so many other things on. And so I said to the Rotary Club of Scarborough, who approached me in the first place, I said, can't do this anymore because it's too difficult. So one Saturday, I thought, I'll have a crack at doing one myself. And I asked Beppy to come and give us a hand, and also Bob Sheridan, who's not here tonight. And we went up to the workshop, and we made one, a very simple one, and I thought this might be an alternative. And from there, the rest is history.
Amazing. And I understand you've designed one now that grows with a child.
Yeah, but it's incredible. Here in Perth, we're the only ones in the world who took up the invitation from the World Health Organisation, who sent out, back in 2008, they sent out guidelines to anyone in the world that's making a wheelchair for disabled children in developing countries. And we thought, oh, well, there'll be other people in America or Germany, Canada, France, whoever, because they were making wheelchairs, right? And so were we, and thought, oh, there'll be other people doing this as well. But then we found out we're the only ones in the whole world making this chair on the World Health Guidelines, because which it's pretty tricky actually. But as the children grow, the chair grows with them. So the age of about 4 or 5 to the age of 15, 16, they can fit into the chair. And you might be interested to know we've got 3 occupational therapists and 2 physios amongst their volunteer group, and there's 4 ladies and 1 man, and they've been all over the world. That group into Vietnam, into Cambodia, far away as Mongolia, into the African countries, up through the Pacific Islands, where they've been training people how to fit the kids up properly to the wheelchairs. And amazingly enough, I just finished with this, but last week we had these people down from Bali, Andy Bracey, who runs Global Village charity up there, and he's taken 3,000 of our wheelchairs now, along with his group. And he's gone from Bali, he's changed the culture in Bali actually. It used to be a shame to have a disabled child. Now they're out in the villages, they're at school. And not only that, but he's gone right across with our wheelchairs across the islands, going through to Lombok, Zimbabwe, right across to Flores. He's been up to Java, Borneo, all our wheelchairs up there. And he wants another 3 containers next year.
Sure. You're incredible. Where does your kindness come from?
Oh, I don't know about being kind, but it's certainly...
Oh, you are?
It's very rewarding, put it that way. And you might like to know, with all our volunteers up there, we've got 32 now on our waiting list to come in. We average 50 people a day up there at the factory in Wangara, and you're very welcome to come and see us one day up in at our factory. And so you're very, very welcome. But the people who start there, they just stay there. They love it. There's a great camaraderie amongst all the volunteers there. And I must remember that we've got all these people out in the community, all these wonderful ladies, doing the sewing for all the backs and the seats and all the side supports, etc. Don't know what we do without them. And they bring in these older ladies, you know. They come in with all these beautiful things, all covers all sewn. And all we've got these lovely ladies making rugs and toys that we send with every chair. And as the occupational therapist tells us, Ollie, but one of the best things in that chair is the little doll, the bear, because the kids have been lying on the ground. All of a sudden, their legs are getting bent. It could take 5 hours to fit a little kid up to a chair. They've been lying all that time, and so they get the little bear and they hug it. He said, and it takes their mind off it. And then once they get set in the chair, they get a big smile on their face. So it's really good.
Brother Ollie Pickett. The power of what you do is amazing. Congratulations, and please enjoy this moment. You're West Australian 2025 Senior Australian of the Year. What an inspiration. Thank you. Our final category this evening is, of course, the 2025 Australian of the Year Award for WA. This category celebrates the achievements and contributions of eminent Australians who lead by example, people who are role models. And as you well know, we've had some very impressive recipients over the years who've come from a broad range of sectors and backgrounds. Here's a reminder of some of them.
I think we can all really aspire to be like the Australians of the Year. The Australians of the Year really help to shape our nation as we move into the future, which is why we should be so grateful for their ongoing work.
We have to have greater representation of people with a disability absolutely everywhere. In our boardrooms, in our parliaments, in our mainstream schools, on our dating apps, on our sporting fields, in our universities, absolutely everywhere.
If I can make a difference to someone else's life, if they can draw some strength by hearing what I say and knowing that I'm speaking on their behalf, it gives me a lot of hope.
I'm going to continue to be myself, keep standing up for what I believe in, and hopefully by doing this, other people will follow.
When you look back at the amazing list of Australians of the Year over the last 60 plus years, it's an extraordinary group of people. Musicians, athletes, scientists, Aboriginal leaders, advocates, environmentalists, rescuers. It's an amazing list of incredible Australians.
What if instead of spending their precious time and energy at war with their bodies, our young people were free to become the leaders, big thinkers and game changers the world needs more of right now? It's not our bodies that need to change, it's our perspective.
Our mission is 0 deaths from melanoma. To reach it, in addition to prevention, we need a targeted screening program and greater investment in research. This must be a national health priority.
Beyond melanoma and into the broader cancer field, more courage is needed to push treatment boundaries backed by science for the benefit of all cancer patients.
Encompassing inspiration, contribution and excellence. Let's see our incredible nominees for this year's West Australian Australian of the Year Award.
Balladong Wadjak man Kim Collard is a trailblazer in Indigenous business. He established Coolbardie and Kuya Australia Fleet Services as leading Indigenous-owned enterprises in Australia, which have created employment opportunities for both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people. He also founded the Bibbulmun Fund, raising and distributing more than $1.6 million since 2014, supporting 24 charitable organisations and empowering thousands of people across the nation. Diane and Ian Haggerty work with soil and ruminant biology to reduce the use of pesticides, to increase soil health and to breathe life into degraded land. They've spearheaded a regenerative agricultural system that produces nutrient-diverse grains, high-quality wool and pasture-raised meat. Diane and Ian have demonstrated that ecologically aware farming is viable at scale and resilient to changing climate. Choosing which antibiotic to treat an infection can be a matter of life and death. Dr. Kieran Mulroney is a leader in the fight against antibiotic resistance. He led the research team that developed Flowcast, technology to quickly predict which antibiotics will be most effective in treating infection with 96.9% accuracy. His work will change lives all over the world. Professor Britta Regli von Ungern-Sternberg's groundbreaking research has helped make it safer for children to undergo anaesthesia. Britta has built a hub for paediatric anaesthesia research in Western Australia, and her patient-centred research has spearheaded significant global practice changes. She's the first chair of paediatric anaesthesia in Australasia and leads the newly founded Institute for Paediatric Perioperative Excellence.
And let us present our finalists with their certificates. Kim Collard. Now, unfortunately, Kim is not able to join us this evening, but his certificate will be accepted by his daughter, Shana Collard. Diane and Ian Haggerty. Dr. Kieran Mulroney. And Professor Britta Regli von Ungern-Sternberg. And we have with us tonight our 2024 Australian of the Year recipient, Michelle Turvey, here with us tonight. And I'll tell you what, it has been a very busy 12 months for Michelle. There is no stopping this woman. Come on stage, Michelle. Lovely to see you again. And Governor.
So the 2025 Australian of the Year for Western Australia are Diane and Ian Haggerty.
Now, we will get our WA Australian of the Year recipients here, but before I speak to them, can we all please thank the Governor? It is always such an honour to share this celebration with you. Thank you. Okay, so the argument as to who will step forward first. Diane, I think you lost that one. Congratulations. Standing up here holding that trophy with that title now attached to your names, how does that sit with you?
Wow, it's just an amazing experience. As you can see, we're pretty shocked, but yeah, just so very grateful to have this opportunity. Grateful for the Australian of the Year Council and putting all these kind of awards on and recognising the people out there throughout all parts of the country that are doing their bit to try and make the world a better place, and yeah, just very grateful for that.
And you are trying to make the world a better place by pioneering modern farming, or as you call it, natural intelligence farming. Explain what you do and the innovation behind it. Oh, the handball to Ian.
Yeah, I think it's a whole of farm approach that we actually do, and I think it all gets back to is we looked at our operations and what we do, and what we do as food producers for the populations that we feed, and it got back to really the human health side of it. And we thought if we can build microbiomes in the soil that will actually produce true healthy food, but over large scales, like we're 26,000 hectares, and be able to prove and show to other farmers that this can be done. Some of the health implications you see around the world today and in our populations can actually be prevented by the food that we eat. And if we can set examples where food these days in big scale is produced as a commodity, but instead be produced as a true food, high nutritional dense product, we can nip a lot of those problems in the bud, including mental health, and work alongside our true health professionals that are actually doing wonderful jobs in actually helping cure these things, or prevent these things at the other end of the scale. We need to start with us from the ground up.
So does that mean with what you do, you have to put a lot of trust in nature?
Absolutely. That's been one of the key learning parts of our life, I guess, since we've started this, was just seeing how magnificent the natural systems were in preventing disease, building robust health systems, I guess, within the animals and the plants that we farm. But also just seeing the return of biodiversity as a result of that. They're all working hand in hand together.
You're also now attracting quite a bit of international attention, I understand.
Yeah, it's been amazing all over the world. There's been inquiries and people wanting us to come and speak, and we do as much as we can, because we think if we can actually show what we're doing in building ecosystems and building ecological health of the country that we're custodians of, plus produce food for the population of the world. We try as hard as we can to get around to all the people that, in different countries in the world to actually help farmers actually change their system.
How long have you been doing farming this way for?
Started in about 2001.
And was there a light bulb moment for you where you both went, we've got to change what we're doing, this doesn't feel right anymore?
We were sort of noticing some weaknesses, I guess, in the farming system with a dry finish, and the crops would feel it and pinch off and have smaller grain and so forth. And I guess with a changing climate, we were just thinking, crikey, if these things happen more often, we're going to have to be a bit better prepared for that and have a soil perhaps that can allow the water to infiltrate better and to hold the moisture longer. But we did actually attend a workshop in early 2001 where there was a couple of leading, doctors, one in soil microbiology and the other one was a medical practitioner. And they both stress very strongly there about the importance of soil health and human health and the links between the two, and how working with that soil microbiology, you could have an incredible workforce beneath your feet that was really looking after the whole system if you allowed it to.
And what you do, your farming practices, I guess, have challenged the norms. Is it a hard slog? It feels like it probably has been, because you're doing things the hard way.
Well, there was no rule book for what we do, so as you see, agriculture, it's highly capital intensive business. and there's been no rule book to do what we do, so we've actually had to pioneer that plus stay viable in the same way. And by linking in around the world with some leading scientists to actually help prove what we do and bringing all those systems together. And it's just a lot of the human health's come into it, and it really makes a lot of sense for what we do. You know, the microbiome in the soil is very similar to the microbiome in your gut. So if we can actually culture that microbiome in the soil, the actual produce that produces is farly advanced, greatly advanced. 1 grain of wheat, proper living wheat grown the right way, contains 9 billion microbes. So if they're the right microbes, imagine what they do when you're actually eating them, and actually you can improve your microbiome, which then can help mental health and other illnesses.
We're all heading to your place tomorrow. Congratulations to both of you, and best of luck for an incredible future that you have ahead. Could you please again congratulate West Australian 2025 Australian of the Year, Diane and Ian Haggerty. Incredible stories we have heard tonight. Well, our recipients are now nominees for the National Award, along with all the other state and territory recipients, and they will be announced in Canberra on the 25th of January. And our next guest, we'll get to meet them all. Please welcome the Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Patrick Gorman MP.
Thank you so much, Nadia. I too begin by acknowledging the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, paying our collective respects to Elders past and present. If I can do an abridged version of the acknowledgements, I do want to acknowledge His Excellency the Honourable Chris Dawson, AC, APM, Governor of the great state of Western Australia, and Mrs Darrell Dawson. I want to acknowledge my friend and Minister Amber Jade Sanderson, Minister for Health representing the Premier. If I acknowledge the President of the Senate of the Commonwealth of Australia, Senator Sue Lyons, acknowledge all parliamentarians, and also say a special thank you to everyone who makes this event possible, which is the Auspire Council and the National Australia Day Council. Thanks to all who serve on the boards, thanks to all who serve under Bradley's leadership and John Foreman's leadership, and to acknowledge Michelle Turvey as our reigning Western Australian of the Year. It's going to be a big celebration in Canberra, marking 65 years of these awards, and 65 years of recognising something more than the individuals who sit alongside Lake Burley Griffin. It's a reflection, it's recognising how we choose to identify and reflect on ourselves as a nation, because the stories of these individuals are actually about bringing Australians together and reminding us of that idea that we are all part of the story, that while we celebrate individuals, we remind ourselves that every single one of us contributes to this country. Every single one of us has something more that we can do. And every single one of us gives strength to one another. What I love is that every time we walk through those doors for these awards, you never know exactly how you're going to be inspired, but you know that you will be inspired. And you fail to kind of fully grasp until you've experienced these awards just how amazing the people who you are sitting alongside are, and just how much they have contributed. And if I just reflect, and this is the thing I love to do, which is Jacinta Vu talked about being so proud to represent Australians coming from different backgrounds. But then she talked about giving people the power of confidence and the power of dignity. And that is an incredible contribution. Brother Thomas Oliver Pickett, AM, talked in such a humble way, said, quote, "It's very rewarding." Well, I would think if you're providing 60,000 wheelchairs where people now come to you and order by the container load, that is indeed very rewarding. Jack Anderson showed us that you can always find a unique way to contribute, even if that is by writing a textbook at 18 years of age. But he talked really powerfully about how his goal isn't textbooks, it's about removing the postcode ceiling. And I thought that's just such a powerful way of talking about how can you give something back. Remove those artificial barriers that sit still today in Australia. And then Diane and Ian Haggerty. Wow. Talking about the workforce beneath your feet. What a great way to think about how we can transform agriculture, not just in Australia, but globally. Talking at the start about people trying to make the world a better place. And if I think about what common thread through all of those we've seen tonight, but those 65 years of Australians of the Year, it is people who are trying to make the world a better place, recognising that Australia's values don't stop at the continental shelf. They extend as far as we choose to take them. So, to conclude, we've been reminded of the incredible things Australians are achieving. We've been reminded of the incredible things that people in this room have contributed to the ever-evolving story. So, we leave with a renewed sense of pride in our community and our people. If I can say once again, congratulations to all of the nominees. I'll see you in Canberra. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Assistant Minister Gorman. And to our nominees, can I please just ask you to savour this moment and soak up the attention, because I know that you don't ask for it, but you do deserve it. And also remember that you have been nominated, so your hard work does not go unnoticed. So please enjoy this evening. And if you'd all like to nominate someone, please do so by going to australianoftheyear.org.au, click on the nominate button. We would love you to get involved. Finally, we'd like to acknowledge the partners who make all of this possible, our category partners, the Departments of Health and Aged Care, Home Affairs and the Australian Government Office for Youth. We thank our broadcast partner, the ABC. Thank you to our media partner, Australian Community Media, reaching rural, regional and remote audiences around the country. Thanks also to our accommodation partner, Crown Plaza Canberra, and to our cultural partner, the Australian National University, who produced the amazing trophies. Thanks also to our exhibition partner, the National Museum of Australia, and our legal partner, Minter Ellison. Please join me in thanking our national partners for their support. And at the local level, we'd also like to acknowledge and thank the Government of Western Australia for its financial support, and also thanks to Tate Wines, who provided the wines for us to enjoy this evening. Also, Auspire Australia Day Council WA as the organisation responsible for tonight's celebration and for delivering this award program in WA. And again, thank you to His Excellency the Honourable Chris Dawson, ACAPM, Governor of WA, and Mrs Darrylyn Dawson, again for hosting us at Government House Ballroom and opening up your home to us. The Governor and Mrs Dawson will be departing after photos, so please thank them for opening up their home. And congratulations again to everyone involved. Do not forget to tune in to the national announcement live on the ABC the evening before Australia Day. Just like tonight, it truly is a beautiful and inspirational event. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.